Could the sci-fi show that was so cruelly taken away from us actually be about to get another chance?
At last, we can retire and give up this life of crime.
It's gathering pace. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So a little while ago, I told you that Nathan Fillion was very keen to do a Firefly movie. He has been talking to the people at Universal and NBC, and he's made it very clear that he would absolutely adore to do this if he got the chance. Now, currently, Universal own the movie rights, but Nathan Fillion has very strong links with NBC, and he's been trying to basically talk them into doing a straight to Peacock movie. So this would be a straight to streaming movie, potentially a trilogy of movies. Now, this may mean he actually steps away a little bit from The Rookie, but that's something he's been sort of doing anyway, because there's such a big cast on The Rookie that he really doesn't need to be there as much as, say, when he was doing Castle, where he had to be there every single day. That's going to give him opportunities to do a couple of little guest movie spots like he's already done, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and other things with James Gunn. But also, it's going to give him the opportunity to actually do something that he desperately wants to do, the Firefly return. Now, Firefly, for me, is one of the greatest pieces of sci-fi ever made. It was very cruelly taken away from us. As I say, it is a TV show of 14 episodes that I watch probably once a year, and it never goes old. The movie I watch probably once or twice a year as well, and that never grows old either. But what is actually happening, and how likely is it that we could actually get this TV movie that Nathan Fillion is pushing for? Well, as I say, I told you a few months ago that this was a possibility and that it was something Nathan Fillion was really pushing for. But now I can actually tell you that formal negotiations between Universal, who own the movie rights, and NBC has started. That this would be a joint production produced by NBC, basically in association with Universal. That it would go straight to the Peacock network. That initially they are looking at a trilogy, and NBC, in cooperation with Universal, are already looking for outlines for a script. Apparently, Nathan Fillion wants to be involved with pretty much every aspect of this and would be going on as an executive producer, as well as, obviously, the main star. This would be a continuation. The first movie apparently would very much center around Captain Reynolds. The general idea apparently being that Reynolds is kind of broken at the point that we see him following the events of obviously the movie and Serenity, that they've lost touch with River and Simon and maybe even Zoe. And when we see him at start, he is kind of a broken man. And then through the first movie, he starts to rebuild himself. He gets back in touch with Zoe, etc. Apparently, as well, Alan Tudyk will appear in the first movie. Now, obviously, for Firefly fans, that's quite hard to say, Firefly fans, will know that that's a little bit of an issue because Alan Tudyk's character of Wash is dead. Massive toothpick straight through his chest. He was a leaf on the wind until that leaf blew away. So how could he appear in the movie? Well, I don't think that they'll just ignore the fact that he got skewered. I don't think they'll do that. I actually think, though, that the hint really is that Captain Reynolds, apparently, Mal, is kind of a broken man at this point. You could imagine him drinking way too much, gambling, whatever else, a really broken soul. And that maybe Alan Tudyk's character of Wash will return as an imaginary figure talking to him, whispering in his ear or whatever. I don't think they'll do it as a ghost per se, but I actually think that his guilt of what happened during the Serenity mission, the guilt that actually one of his crew were lost, I think that would be enough to push him over the edge and maybe, to have a little bit of a mental breakdown, as it were, and to then imagine his old friend reappearing. Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk are best friends in real life, and I actually think they would desperately want to do this if they get the chance. So That's where we're at right now. Negotiations have started. They are thinking about storyline. They are thinking about a script. But there is a long way to go yet. There is going to be a period of development. This is not something we're going to see on our screens this year or next year. It's probably going to be something we might see 2025. These things do take a little while. As it being a straight-to-Peacock movie, it won't take as long as a theatrical release, but it's still going to take a little bit of time. And, to be honest, there is one slight problem. The contract that Universal has is for the movie rights for Firefly. Now, I've actually found out about this because I have some contacts that work in and around a legal team that does consultancy work for several of the big studios. I made this contact through MGM initially. Now, apparently they are having to go through this contract with a bit of a fine-tooth comb because apparently it formally says theatrical movie. So that would generally and traditionally be a cinematic release. That's not what NBC and Universal want to do. They do not want to sort of spend anything like the sort of budget that that would require. So they want to do a straight to streaming movie, but at the point that they bought the movie rights, straight to streaming movies weren't really a thing. It doesn't specifically say TV movie. So that might be a bit of a problem, particularly if they have to then go back and negotiate with Disney again, or whoever it is that they would have to renegotiate those rights with. Now, I am actually told that it might not be a problem because as long as the contract that basically Disney has for the TV rights doesn't specifically say anything about TV movies, then they're fine. But they're currently going through that work to see exactly where they stand. Once that is sort of agreed, and it's basically going to come down to, I think, Universal and NBC going, look, Disney, if we do this, you're right. And Disney will either go yes or no. That's what it's going to come down to. But until that's sort of agreed, that's the only real stumbling block we currently have right now. Because in every other respect, Nathan Fillion wants to do it, Alan Tudyk wants to do it, NBC wants to do it, and Universal wants to do it. So this looks very likely to actually happen. The big question, of course, is, will Jos Weeden be involved? Well, my sources are telling me that there is nothing concrete on this yet, and he is not currently involved basically in any way. But Nathan Fillion is pushing for Jos to be involved. He wants him to captain the ship. He wants him to be the main man. He wants him to potentially write it. Apparently, there has been some very informal discussions already. There is a small problem, though. Universal are not particularly keen. NBC are open to it, but Universal not so much, and they will need convincing. So right now, as it stands, he might not be. But if Nathan Fillion gets his way, he will be writing the script and probably directing the movie too. But guys, what do you think? Is this a project that you would kill to see? A trilogy of straight-to-Peacock movies that'll probably be, on Prime or something internationally? Or would you actually prefer to see something else? Would you prefer to see like maybe a reboot, the next generation of Firefly? Wash's kid. Maybe Zoe was pregnant. That's what happened in the comics. So guys, get in the comments and tell me what you think. What would you prefer? Or actually, is it Firefly with Nathan Fillion or nothing? That's kind of where I stand. And if all we're going to get is these TV movies, I'm okay with it. But what do you think? Get in the comments. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit all those buttons. It really helps us out. And also go to patreon.com/SciTrek, where most of our new videos appear first. And you get to see them without the adverts for a small contribution each month that really supports the channel. Also, go to SciTrek.co.uk, where we do articles, when I get around to writing them, based on most of our new videos, and we try to add a little bit more information for you to digest. Go check it out. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.